Maybe.
Maybe, maybe not. We say in Spanish, quizás sí, quizás no. Maybe yes, maybe no. So we want to know in the chat, who is going to be at the Las Vegas, is it called the home-based show, Ashley?
Las Vegas Travel Agent Forum is the
Wow.
official
Okay,
name.
you can see it's been a minute for me.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Well, I was just selecting some things and messing around with some follow-ups for that show. So very excited that we'll both be in attendance and hopefully we'll see some of you guys there.
Yes, I want to know in the chat, is anyone going to be there? And good morning, good afternoon, no matter where you're tuning in from. We are so happy. This is a mega session with our newest kid on the block. Guess who? Oh, guess who? Hilton, all inclusive. Okay, you guys are in for such a treat. I know you're excited because hundreds and hundreds of you registered for this webinar. Look at the chat, it's blowing up, it's going
Holy
crazy.
cow. This is
Yes,
fantastic. Yeah.
it's gonna be phenomenal. This is the way we do things in Spoiled Agent. We show our love, we show our appreciation. P.S. I don't know if you already knew this, Ashley, but Spoiled Agents are the best agents in the industry. They're taking the
Definitely knew
time to
that.
learn. They're taking the time to learn. They're taking the time to be here, to support you, to make those relationships, and that's why they're the best. Because now they can go to their clients and say, "Hey, I know Ashley Gibbs. I just learned about this at the Hilton All Inclusive yesterday. Let me tell you about this." So this is why we're here. This is why we do these webinars. They're just magic. So I don't want to take too much time out. I'd love to do an introduction to our very special guest, my friend, Ashley Gibbs, the senior manager, business development for All Inclusive. So this is huge. I feel like you have a few colleagues, but it's like you doing so much of this and being with agents, right, Ashley?
For sure. Yeah, no, thanks for the introduction, Sabrina. It's a pleasure to work with you, my friend, as well. And I'm glad that we are considered in some way the new kids on the block still. I've actually been here at Hilton for what? It's been 2.5 years, maybe.
Wow, it
But
goes
yeah.
fast.
Yeah. But not my first go around. I've been around the block a little while, and especially in the all-inclusive segment, have done some work with you guys in the past, and I'm happy to be here. I see the energy coming from the chat is like the hybrid between being live on stage and presenting here in like a webinar remote format. So thank you guys for bringing the energy. I saw a couple familiar names on there saying hello as well. So happy to be here. It's exciting.
So
Thank you.
much love. My goodness. Yes. This gentleman right here is a guru. He knows what he's talking about. He knows this product inside and out. 2.5 years already. That's amazing. So on that note, if you have questions, please throw them in the Q&A. The chat, as we say, is for oohs and ahs. Of course, your reactions as well. Keep them coming because it keeps us motivated and happy. If you have questions, though, help us out and pretty please put them in that Q&A box because that's where our amazing host is going to see them and be able to support you with your answers. And maybe you have a super tricky question that needs a follow-up. Well, that's going to be documented and we'll be able to follow up with you to help you, to really support you the way that we want to, the way that Ashley wants to, the way that Hilton All Inclusive wants to. So of course it's going to be recorded in case you have to slip out because you're going to go book the Hilton All Inclusive. We forgive you, right, Ashley?
Absolutely. No, run and go make the bookings and come back.
Make
It's
the
recorded.
booking.
You could come back. You can listen to me 5 times in a row if you want. You're
It's
going to have that
perfect.
possibility.
That's right. So it'll be on the pages, both the US and Canada for you. And without further ado, I will let you get started, Ashley.
All right. Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and get the screen pulled up here. Just a moment. We're going
And I'll give
live
you
in
those
three,
thumbs up.
two,
Okay, I
one.
already want to go. I'm so excited.
Oh, look at that,
Take it
right?
away.
Beautiful sunrise shot here. This actually looks to be the Hilton Playa Carmen, which we will talk about briefly as well. So thank you guys so much for joining. Whether you're here with us live, fantastic. If you're listening to this on this recording, fantastic as well. Just to give kind of my formal introduction, I leave the slide in here just so everybody can see what I look like when I'm all dressed up. But that's me, and I am your primary business development contact for everything travel advisors as far as Hilton All Inclusive. So we are a small but mighty team. As my friend Sabrina mentioned, we've got, destination wedding and celebration specialist, someone who handles our hosting consortia relationships, and then basically myself. We're all the ones that are out here facing you guys. A couple other team members behind the scenes, but all in all, we are really proud of the team that we have, and we're even prouder of this growing collection of resorts that you see in front of you on the map. We have, like I said, I've been here on the team for a little over 2.5 years. And it was an absolute can't miss opportunity for me to join at the beginnings of what is the creation of an incredible portfolio of resorts. And as you guys know, anyone who's signed on here, I mean, all inclusives, the concept, the idea, that style of vacation has been around for a number of decades. But we're still new kids on the block. We're new to the scene. And I'm proud to say that this collection of resorts is pretty substantial in the last couple of years that we've been able to grow. And as you can see, we've got a few other properties that are coming soon, which I will take the time to make sure I give a little extra attention to here towards the end. One of the other things that you'll notice, and some of you that may be familiar with the Playa Hotels and Resorts, we've got a great partnership with them. So to eliminate any confusion out of the gate, you do notice that some of the Hiltons like the La Romana, Rose Hall, the Playa del Carmen property that I mentioned, and even the Yucatan, those are all owned and operated by Playa Hotels and Resorts, but they're Hilton all-inclusives as well. So they're part of my portfolio. And the great thing about that is I work with the amazing team at Playa Hotels and Resorts, whether that be in Canada or in the US, and they're all friends and partners of mine. We work together really closely on these Hilton all-inclusives, and you already know a lot of their great benefits available through those. I'll talk about the rest of our portfolio today, but I definitely don't want to leave them out because they're great partners of ours at Hilton All Inclusive. So, how do I start pretty much every presentation that I do? I really start by asking the question, why us? What makes Hilton All Inclusive different? As I mentioned, I mean, all inclusive vacations have been around for quite some time, decades, in fact, and the industry has grown quite a bit more mature. The palette of the modern traveler, as everyone knows now, regardless of what the budget is, the expectations are sky high, especially what we're dealing with post COVID. And so, one of these things that's important to highlight when we're talking about our portfolio as a whole is our identity. Like, what are we about? What do we bring to the table at Hilton All Inclusive? And I break it down in 5 key pillars, right? Now, when we're talking about these, some of them are more tangible, physical, it can touch this type selling points, and other things are a little bit more on the service and the experience side of things. The first one, which is our hospitality, is something that we really embody and is the foundation of every single Hilton all-inclusive stay. And it starts with the words of Mr. Conrad Hilton, who started the company over 100 years ago by purchasing a single hotel in Texas, and what has now, in terms of Hilton as a whole, grown to over 7,500 hotels globally. So our all-inclusive portfolio is just a portion of that. But in the words of Mr. Hilton, his goal was to spread the light and warmth of hospitality all over the world. And what better place to showcase those words, to showcase our Hilton mission statement, than in our all-inclusive resort portfolio, because of the wonderful service-oriented cultures in the destinations in which we're located, right? So that is the foundation, and it's more than just giving the guest what they're asking for or meeting their basic needs, but it's anticipating that service. Maybe bringing someone a drink the next day based on what they'd ordered the previous day before they even have to ask. It's really taking that extra next step to make sure that every single one of the guests at one of our Hilton all-inclusives truly feels special, feels valued, and feels that light and warmth of hospitality flowing through. But it's easy for any supplier to sit here and say, hey, we've got the best service, because everyone's going to say that. They're going to feel that. If they're passionate about their product, they're going to have that standpoint. For us, there's also real tangible selling points that you can count on that are going to set us apart, especially where we sit in the market. And everybody's got different stars and apples and different ways to rate their product, right? We really would position ourselves in that more, easier to achieve luxury all-inclusive segment. And in that segment, in that 4.5 to 4.75 star range, we really are leading the way with our culinary. The food and beverage at our resorts is something that I would say is that it's the biggest tangible selling point for the properties, because what we've done is taken a lot of the higher end luxury EP mindset that Hilton's come to kind of hone in over the last century plus in the hospitality industry, and brought that into the all inclusive. So you're talking about giving a lot more leeway to the chefs to create creative menus, top shelf bars with top shelf liquors on display, but really drinks made by craft cocktail bartenders, whether it's in the restaurants or at standalone lounges, 24-hour room service with technology that allows you to even order in advance the day before. Say you're headed out on an excursion the next day, you can pre-order your room service and all sorts of different selections to be delivered at a set time even having to make a phone call. So we really take that and meld it into even just the experience that when you're dining at one of our establishments or having a drink in one of our lounges, the space itself is very immersive. It draws you in and makes you feel like, gosh, this is a luxury hotel. Or maybe I'm at a venue that's completely standalone from a resort, and then you don't have to pay the check at the end of the experience. Another place where we've invested substantially, and it's the third key pillar, is entertainment. This is something that's extremely important, even more important now than it ever has been in regards to the all-inclusive stay. Guests are looking for entertainment that embodies the region, right? So we've got things like you know uh, culturally inspired ceremonies and different things like that. Whether maybe it's like a Mexican sunset ceremony, Mayan sunset ceremony along the beach. But we also have things for all different ages, things from morning until evening. So we're not going to shut the lights off at 10 o'clock. I mean, yeah, we're not going to be that crazy nightlife hotel that's open until 3 or 4 in the morning, but we definitely have options, vibrant nightlife. I've seen live band karaoke. We've got silent disco. There's all sorts of different options available for entertainment, and we have specific entertainment available for kids too. So dedicated kids clubs, dedicated teens lounges, areas for all different age groups, and even for those folks. I'm going kind of backwards in time here, but like what folks that like the wellness activities in the morning, maybe it's sunrise yoga on the beach or by the pool. There's all sorts of different entertainment, and we've made a substantial investment to ensure that this is a great fit for all ages. So even though we have some adults only resorts and areas within our portfolio, we're really more of a sophisticated family friendly vacation approach that's catered to the more modern traveler and what they're looking for out of an all inclusive getaway. And of course, all this is taking place in absolutely breathtaking spaces, as you see here, that fourth key pillar. And I frame this in a way that I want to get you thinking about how different Hilton All Inclusive is from what maybe the preconceived notion of a Hilton downtown city corporate hotel might be. Hilton is a brand that's been in the market, like I said, for over 100 years, but many people don't think of these beautiful, gorgeous resorts with their own personality that embody the environment and the region in which they're located. And that's what we have in our Hilton All Inclusive portfolio. So as I go through the resorts a few slides later, you'll really see that and see that each one of these properties are true luxury resorts that take on the personality of the environment of the region and really are unique and different than what a lot of your clients may expect from the Hilton brand. And then the fifth pillar, which we're going to dive into in detail here in just a moment, is events. This is something that we are absolute leaders in the hospitality space from a global perspective. And I'm talking about anything from a small social group gathering all the way up to a multi resort buyout. Hilton as a company has focused on group business for a number of decades. And so we have our systems honed down to a point that you can trust us in setting up those special events for your clients, regardless of the shape and size and location, that we are not only going to be able to handle all the logistics on the front end, but the group's execution will be industry leading on the back end. And so keep that in mind, focus on that as we head into this next section here. And now that you have a little bit better understanding of what sets Hilton All Inclusive apart, let's talk about it. Now, I know everyone on here may not necessarily be selling a lot of groups and things like that. This doesn't even have to be contracted groups. You can also do the option for some of our properties of like flex groups and things of that nature where you're booking FITs and we kind of put them all together. Even if with some of the hotels they don't receive group benefits per se, they're still going to get the attention that's needed for rooms traveling together as long as you're communicating with our properties, which is something that I'm here to help build that relationship for you as well. So let's start out with the wedding segment, because that's probably the biggest percentage of social groups. If you have to break it down by what the advisor community does, what you guys are all experts in. And we actually have 4 unique specific wedding packages available, starting with our signature package all the way up to our Cherish Captured. These are available at all of our Hilton All Inclusive resorts, and basically they're going to start in with like your bare bones, kind of entry level, whether it's a small elopement or maybe it's something where they just the couple wants to customize like crazy and do all sorts of add-ons and things like that. You start in with that signature package. In the middle there, the devotion package provides guests with some more inclusions. So maybe it's an extra event hour. Maybe it's some other inclusions in there to make it kind of that middle of the road package where they're not trying to blow the doors out, trying to save a little bit of money, but they still want a package that includes a lot so they don't have to worry about all the extra planning. Then for folks who really don't want to do much of the extra planning at all and want to make sure that the entire thing is included, we have our Cherish package, which is basically the full soup to nuts wedding from beginning to end, all the things that you'll need. Of course, you guys as the experts are going to be taking care of the room side of that, but this allows the couples not to have to worry about putting together all the little pieces. And even for maybe some of those larger groups, this would be a better fit. Now we also have the Cherish Captured, which offers photography services. We know that many folks that are in doing destination weddings might want to bring their own photographer or find one from on social media or a local vendor and whatnot. But we do have packages that include that because there's a number of folks that are looking for the wedding package with the photography included, and so we give that option as well. Now I will say the pricing on these will vary based on destination, but it's something that's as simple as reaching out to one of our wedding team members, and you can always use me or my colleague Gina Johnson on our wedding side to kind of initiate that initial connection. But then you're setting up the wedding time and date, and then you go ahead and book those rooms wherever you see fit, your preferred travel provider, directly with the hotel, whatever you choose and is best for your business. That's what we want to see you doing. And then when it comes to our benefits, something that I am very proud of in the market is the fact that for a majority of the year, we provide eighth room free comps on contracted groups. And then we also are going to provide, category upgrade, and we do a 5-room comps. Now, this doesn't apply to the Playa hotels and resorts, but for the rest of the properties I'll talk about, and I'll put a little placeholder in there, this is really the standard that we've gone out with as far as wedding group, or I'm sorry, not just wedding, social group benefits. So it could be any kind of social group, family get-togethers, multi-generational trips, big landmark birthdays, whatever it may be. And this is through any of the preferred suppliers. So I know many of you guys working with your preferred tour operators. We partner with really essentially all of them out there. We want to partner with you, but we want you to do what's best for your business and know that you have the support from myself, our team, and then for some of the properties, even that extension through the partners with Playa Hotels and Resorts. All right. So now, because I teased it a little bit already, and you're here to learn more about the properties that are part of this amazing portfolio. So I wasn't just going to show you the map and then that would be it. We're obviously going to talk about each one of these in a little bit of detail, and obviously be mindful of time, make sure we've got time for some Q&A and things like that as well, and address a lot of the stuff that I see coming through the chat. It's down here on the screen here, looks like it's already maxed out over 99 plus. It's like the big red number here for chat. So I'm excited to see what you guys are chatting over Q&A. We've got about 15 questions there. So let's go ahead and prime it. I'm sure you'll have some other questions as we go through the properties. First and foremost, I'm going to start with the Hilton Cancun. So this was a new build about 2 years ago. We opened this property, so it would have been what, the fall of 2021, is it, or 20? Yeah, so it's a little over 2 years old at the time of this webinar, this recording. Think of it as like a contemporary modern Mexico approach. Again, new build with two completely different personalities in more of a concentrated space that makes it great for groups that want to stay connected and be closer to each other. You can still really find separation, and for folks who are looking for something that's a little more low-key, calmer, more adults oriented, you've got one side of the property that focuses on that, but then the other side of the property has more of that family friendly personality with splash pads and kids club, teens lounge, ice cream, churro and candy shop, little taqueria and grab and go food items and activations throughout the day. This is located just 15 minutes south of the Cancun International Airport, and we share the resort space with the Waldorf Astoria EP property, which is actually part of the complex connected through the convention center. So not only is this property great for groups and FIT stays and folks who are looking for maybe a shorter stay, but they don't want to be in the hotel zone. I will say that the beach doesn't look quite like this in real life, so maybe marketing took some liberties and a little retouching, but it's still an above average beach. And to give you a reference on location, for those familiar with the area, the Royalton Riviera Cancun is our neighbor just to the south that you can see off to the edge of this picture. But as I refer back also to talking about how we've tried to set ourselves apart and add a little more upmarket luxury to some of our properties, when you're talking about this resort as a whole and the fact that we're connected to Waldorf Astoria, if guests wanted to do spa treatments, of course it's an extra charge, but they would have access to not a Hilton spa, but actually the Waldorf Astoria spa. So it elevates that level of options and things. If guests wanted to go do an out-of-pocket dining experience over at Waldorf, they can take advantage of that as well. And it's just something that we're doing with some of these newer complexes and in creating these dual property models, and gives us some more brand exposure in the destination, right? Now, as we move a bit further down the coast, I'm skipping all the way down to our southernmost property in the Cancun Riviera Maya region, and that is the Hilton Tulum Riviera Maya. Now, this is the one that I visited personally most recently. Took my family here for vacation for about 7 nights back in November, towards the end of 2023. Fantastic experience. This one is great for any type of vacation. I mean, unless someone's looking specifically for an only adults only property, you can really get a little bit of everything here at Hilton Tulum. Obviously, a bit more spread out along this beach cove area. And we also have a 2 resort complex here. So guests are getting that upmarket added value of having the Conrad EP property just next door to us. And guests would experience the Conrad Spa, very Mayan inspired style to the spa there. Everything is much more lush, more green. And this starts to illustrate what I was talking about when we say breathtaking spaces, because every one of these resorts are full scale luxury all inclusives, and each one of the properties has its own distinct personality that really embodies the region. You've got much more of like a boho chic vibe going on here that's akin to a lot of the popular style and Instagrammable nature of Tulum, but you're not right there in the heart of Tulum. It's about 15 to 20 minutes down the road. Now, I know there's been a lot of excitement over the new Tulum airport, but I do want to clarify it's still about an hour away from this location. It's looking more and more like that Tulum airport's probably being built for the future infrastructure and additional construction that's going to go in south of Tulum. However, hour and a half nonstop transfer down here to this property, I'd always recommend doing nonstop transfers. Was no problem for us. And I've got a family with at the time an 8 and 5 year old kiddo. So, for them, no problem. We cruised right on down the highway. We were there in no time flat. But still, down in the southern Riviera Maya, you have access to a lot more of like the cenotes and the eco park. So there's always a trade-off there, right? You're either closer to the airport or maybe a little bit further south, but you get more of the lushness and what that region has to offer. All right, now we're going over to the West Coast for a minute to my favorite personal destination, and this is Vallarta. So our Hilton Vallarta Riviera has been around for what's been in our collection here for, a little over 2 years or so, 2.5 years. Been here about as long as I have, actually. And one of the things that I realized the first time I laid eyes on this property was how amazing the beach is. So actually, the color on this slide's a little bit off. It's much more of like a blue. I think of it as almost like a Hawaii vibe meets Mexico. You've got the beautiful scenery of the mountains in back of us. We've got an indoor option for convention center for groups and things that might need indoors. The rooms all face out towards the ocean, and some of these gorgeous West Coast sunsets that the Greater Vallarta Bahia de Banderas region is known for. And the beach is incredibly calm, crystal clear, great for snorkeling, kayaks, canoes, all the non-motorized water sports that we include. And this is also a family-friendly resort. So all of the rooms that are facing out towards the ocean, fantastic. We have an adults-only pool here. The resort itself has just received a brand new kids club, and we've got like teens lounge area as well. This is a phenomenal option for folks looking to go to Vallarta that want to be close to town. We're only about 10 minutes away from the romantic zone, 15 minutes from the Malacon, that popular boardwalk area, and only about 20 minutes from the airport, 25 minutes depending upon traffic. We're to the south of Vallarta proper town. But a lot of the new builds that are going in up in Punta de Mita and further are a good hour away from the airport. They're not close to town. This still gives you that feeling of seclusion to a degree because you're kind of around the corner. You get all the beautiful vistas that you want. Not a bad view in the house, but you're also still able to get to the nightlife and the shopping and the great dining and culinary aspects of downtown Puerto Vallarta. It's all accessible for your clients. So this is an absolute can't miss location, beach. You can't beat this one here in our portfolio. Now, one of the newest additions, I can't say it's the absolute newest, but this is one of the newest ones on the market, and this is the Cancun Mar Caribe property. So this, back over to the East Coast now, this one is in the heart of the hotel zone. So for folks who are looking for a beautiful new Hilton branded property right in the heart of the downtown kind of hotel zone strip of Cancun, only about 15 minutes from the airport here as well, headed north, this is the Cancun Mar Caribe. So this hotel opened just as recently as late October of 2023. So at the time of this, we're only talking a couple months. As you can see, don't need to do any doctoring with the beautiful beach that you see here, that white sand, the beautiful water that the hotel zone is known for. And then as you can also, it's kind of tough to see from this picture, but almost all of the rooms are either ocean view or ocean front. So it provides guests with this fantastic outlook over the ocean. They can catch the sunrises here facing out to the East Coast. Also, another thing I'll note, the owners of this property here, they actually invested almost $100 million in completely gutting and renovating it. So everything is new from floor to ceiling in the rooms, the common areas. It is an absolutely gorgeous property. Lots of different pool experiences, something available for all ages, really a fairly concentrated space. And then we also have these buildings that you see out towards the front are actually designated for our enclave. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, because this is not the only property that has the enclave treatment. But again, looking at this as a great family-friendly property in the heart of the hotel zone, but not up where a lot more of the traffic is. It's actually only maybe about a 5 to 7 minute cab ride up to La Isla Mall. You're in that that nightclub area in maybe 10 to 12 minutes. And just to give you proximity wise, our neighbor just a couple hotels down is the Iberostar with the pyramid. I know a lot of people know that visually if you're familiar with the hotel zone. So that is one of our neighbors nearby, just to give you an idea of where this one's located. Another thing that's hard to see in this picture, but a lot of like the dining venues and other common areas of the property will have sunset views. So a lot of times at dinner, you're going to look out over the Nachucte Lagoon, which you can see in the background of the image. But that really gives guests it's not a bad seat in the house, right? No matter where you are throughout the morning through the evening. Now, as I kind of teased it a little bit and I mentioned, we also have something that has been, we've been adding to more and more of the properties in our portfolio, and it's called the Enclave. So think of this as like our version of club level. It's an elevated experience. It's a fantastic upsell opportunity for you to offer to your clients. And it's available right now at the hotels that you see on your screen, the properties you see on your screen. So the Hilton Cancun Mar Caribe, which we just talked about, the Hilton Tulum, Riviera Maya, Hilton Vallarta Riviera, and also Hilton La Romana, which is actually part of the Playa portfolio as well. This really provides guest exclusivity, like private lounge access. You'll see here, this is actually the private lounge area at the Hilton Tulum. Really fantastic bartender here, made me some to die for carajillos when I was there on vacation. You get kind of like extra concierge light, a little bit of a leg up if your guests are choosing to make, or clients are choosing to make like dining reservations. It helps them out a little bit there. For instance, in Tulum, guests would actually get access to their own exclusive pool, but there's a number of exclusive benefits like the lounge, like the other additional service items, and there's also upgraded amenities in the room. So an upgraded mini bar, upgraded coffee experience. There's definitely a lot to it. And most of the times, I'm actually going to go back 2 slides, the room locations are going to be absolutely premier on property. So as I highlighted before, and if you can see my pointer, these 2 beachfront buildings right here are where our enclave rooms are located. So it really does offer guests additional options as far as, and again, you don't want to send your clients down there and then have them come back and say, hey, why couldn't I get into this lounge? Or why wasn't my room over in this premier location? Always something to put in there in any quote that you do. Suggest the Enclave. It's well worth it. It's a phenomenal upgrade that only enhances the experience. And here you see our lounge at the Cancun Mar Caribe. So really great option for guests looking for that extra bit of exclusivity and luxury at our properties. Now, one other thing that's a little bit time sensitive, so the booking window on this is going to close in a few weeks. Depending upon when you're listening to this recording, this one may already be over, but we're offering a kids-free promo available at the hotels the properties that you see on the screen right there. So many of the same ones, a little bit of overlap, but many of the same ones that I just mentioned in the in the Enclave slide there. This promotion would be available. So essentially, it's just it's a free kid with every adult, up to 2 adults in the room or up to 2 children. So always you want to take a look, no matter where you're booking, to make sure you're getting the best available price, and whatever that may be. We have a number of different promotions, like our early booking bonus. These things kind of price out automatically, so you always still want to sort by price, but just make sure that we're continuing to offer great promotions for you to share with your clients that make our vacations, our properties rather, the right fit for their vacation. Now, in the interest of time, because I know we want to make sure we have time to handle all this Q&A stuff, I do want to go through the remainder of the portfolio. And this is something that I will say, last year when I visited for a short period of time some of the major markets up in Canada, there was a lot of interest over this. And I've seen growing interest in the US as well for Curacao as a destination. Not one that people have thought about as an all-inclusive destination for a number of years, but guys, it's right on the cusp of really blooming in terms of the offerings and everything. So we have properties to offer you in Curacao. This is our Mangrove Beach, which has been in our portfolio as a Curio Collection branded hotel for the last couple years. And essentially, almost all of it's a new build within the last few years. One of the original structures was completely gutted and renovated, multiple new buildings added, and everything around was all new. So you can see we have our own private beach cove. This property is within walking distance of downtown Willemstad. So all the restaurants and the artist shops, the nightlife, the shopping, and the UNESCO World Heritage Site of colonial downtown Willemstad is all within about a 15-minute walk. And also, it's maybe less than a 5-minute cab ride. So our proximity is very close there. And then this is a little bit more of like a low-key Dutch style approach. So keep in mind that Curacao is still predominantly Dutch. So guests would need to bring like plug adapters, and they're going to get a bit more like open air casual food. The freshness of the food and the ingredients, the way that it's prepared is all fantastic. But this is going to be a little bit less on that higher end luxury side, a little bit more value oriented, and a little bit more open market. However, our newest property in the portfolio that just opened here within the past, month or so is the Reef at Mangrove Beach. Now, I don't have a lot of information on this yet, more to come, and just keep your eyes, on this space. This one is going to be a little bit more upmarket, catering towards that North American clientele. So the clients that we're dealing with within Canada and the United States, this is really going to be a little bit more for them. I'm not sure about details like plug adapters and things like that, but the idea here is capitalizing on more of these flights that are coming in from major markets and that the submarkets can connect into, whether it be, again, the US and Canadian guests. This is really going to be a little bit more fit for them. Really kind of can operate as its own standalone property. But if you can see right here, it's actually right next door and part of the same complex as the Mangrove Beach Hotel as well. So now, just because this will probably be a little bit more review for some of you that have, seen Playa go through their entire portfolio. These have been on the scene a little bit longer, but I want to make sure I give them their shine as well. We're hopping back over to Mexico to mention the fact that there is obviously been a lot of investment made in the Hilton Playa properties. And one of them, of course, which we saw on that opening slide, the Hilton Playa del Carmen. This is the first adults only that really hit our portfolio. Complete gut and renovation as recently as 2020, right on the beach in downtown Playa del Carmen, backs up to Fifth Avenue. You cannot beat the location. One of the greatest craft cocktail bars I've ever seen, period, not just at an all-inclusive, and a really great, vibrant vibe throughout the day for not just couples, but any kind of adults getaways. So this one is about location, being right on the beach and on Fifth Avenue, and about the fact that it is very vibrant, and you get that double support from myself as well as the amazing team at Playa Hotels and Resorts. Around the corner, we have the Yucatan. Now, this is a beautiful little property that's a great alternative for folks that want a downtown Playa del Carmen experience, walking distance to the beach, fantastic vibe during the day, full all-inclusive, so all meals, drinks, gratuities included, but it's right on Fifth Avenue. And getting that little downtown experience or doing something that's a little bit more of a split stay, the Yucatan is a great fit for guests that are looking for, to kind of mix it up and be positioned in that higher end residential section of downtown Playa del Carmen, and maybe an alternative to like an Airbnb. So you can actually send them somewhere where they know all their meals, drinks, gratuities, security, all that's taken care of. And then they just walk right out and still have enough budget to go, dining off property and things of that nature. So great option, little boutique, a gem that a lot of people don't know about. Now, Hilton La Romana, that was the other one on the list that I showed you that also has received the Enclave treatment. So we do have Enclave level rooms here. This is not only set on one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, in the Bayahibe Beach area, but this is an adults only and family friendly property. So it's essentially two different properties in one complex. So anyone that's 18 or older, regardless of what side they're staying on, can come and go as they please and access the entire resort portfolio. But if they're just on the family side, for instance, which you see showcased right here, they're not going to feel like they're lacking for anything because there's still plenty of rooms, plenty of restaurant options to get them through an entire week, not to mention an absolutely phenomenal water park with a lazy river and the whole 9 yards. Now, the beach is probably the biggest selling point of this property among the many. It's great for those social groups who are looking for like a little bit of a combination. Now, you might have to do two separate contracts depending upon the partner, but regardless, it still gives flexibility where they're all on the same property. You don't have to deal with transportation logistics and day passes and things of that nature. Another thing to point out, and this is an eye opener for a lot of people, it's only 45 minutes nonstop transfer from Punta Cana International Airport. So even though it's in La Romana, the road infrastructure has improved so much. You guys can fact check me and Google Maps that if you want. only 45 minutes away from Punta Cana. So you don't need to fly guests into La Romana to access this wonderful property, which underwent an extensive renovation as recently as 2020 as well. And then last but not least, before we talk about, benefits and what's upcoming and then leave time for questions, is of course the Hilton Rose Hall. Our partners at Playa have done a phenomenal job of making a fully complete all-inclusive experience with the top shelf included liquors, with the 24-hour room service, and substantial renovations as recently as mid to late 2020 to many of the common areas. This hotel is only about 10 to 15 minutes from Montego Bay International Airport, but we have one of the best white sand beaches, expansive beaches in the region. The property actually spans about 3 times the size of what you see in this photo, and we're flanked by historical aqueducts and a gorgeous golf course on one side, and then we also have like a great green lush area on the other side, plus the largest water park on the entire island of Jamaica, and it's 100% included as part of the experience. This is really a great option for family value vacation, and it's so convenient, and you can have pretty much everything that you want right here because you get the phenomenal beach, the close proximity to the airport. It gives you a lot of options, but the Hilton Rose Hall, again, has gotten a lot of upgrades here over the last year. So if it's not one that's part of your, kind of Jamaica, especially as far as family vacations go, definitely start including this in as far as quotes for your clients as well. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about, because we're still developing a lot of and here's actually a much better look at what the water looks like at our Vallarta property here, because you can see the watercolor is in fact not green. It's a beautiful, deep turquoise blue of the Pacific, is our Unlimited Rewards program. Now, this only applies to rooms when booked through the global distribution system or directly through travelagents.hilton.com. It is not going to be substantial in terms of the dollar value and everything there, but we do include this as something else that you can do when making bookings through there. So you have to, if you're not already, register on unlimited-rewards.com. And then all you have to do is put that unlimited rewards number when making the reservation into, whether it be, again, the GDS or the our Hilton travel agent portal. And it's going to give you a couple bucks here. So again, this is a program that was already in place for what Hilton had for its global portfolio before we got involved with all inclusive. But I really hope that in the coming years, we'll be able to give even more great benefits. And something else that I don't have a slide for, but we have phenomenal travel agent rates available for you guys, especially for the new openings. And that can also be found under advisor rates on travelagents.hilton.com. So this slide gave me a great opportunity to talk about that. So now I see we're up to about 40 questions in the Q&A and all sorts of great hype and everything to make me feel good in the chat. But before I close out, I want to talk about the stuff that everybody's always so excited about, right? I find it funny because it's like, let's focus on the things that we can sell, but everybody always wants to know what's coming, right? What's new? You saw a couple of those points that I had on the map in the first slide. The first one I'm going to talk about will actually be available for sale here in the coming months, and that is a brand new build in the new Miches region of the Dominican Republic, and that is the Zemi Miches All-Inclusive, which is one of our Curio Collection brand properties. So a very luxury kind of, earth nature type vibe here. This is going to be a gorgeous new build. Like I said, going in just up around the corner, still probably about an hour or so away from the Punta Cana International Airport. But keep your eyes peeled because this one's actually coming probably Q1 of 2025, if not earlier. So hopefully we'll have this available for sale before the end of this year for travel headed into 2025. And then a little bit further off, but another one that shows our investment in the destination of Dominican Republic, because there's so many great flights. There's so many phenomenal beaches. The service culture there has really just made such incredible strides. And so we are going to be putting another new property in. So if La Romana is down here, then up in the Bavaro Beach area, we'll have another alternative, half adults only, half family friendly, and it will be the Hilton Punta Cana All-Inclusive Resort. So this one's probably going to open more like 2026, but just keep your eyes peeled for this one. Keep it on your radar because we've really got some other options coming up. And trust me when I say there are many more that are probably going to enter our portfolio in between now and then. But these are just the ones that I can talk about, the exciting new builds that are completely confirmed that we know are coming down the pike. And no questions about any others because I can't answer them honestly anyway. You can get excited about these. And with that, I'll leave you with our tagline, which is all inclusive, all extraordinary. We really are striving to be an extraordinary option for your clients. And I just want to thank you so much for being extraordinary advisors that took the time to attend this, whether it be live, whether it be on the recording. So I want to make sure that we take some time to answer those questions as we can. I'll bring Sabrina back in, but thank you guys so much for your time on this one.
Yay. Oh my goodness. Phenomenal. Extraordinary, to say the least. I think that's a word we're going to be left with. The chat, you're right, is blown up. We have a few hundred agents here. Thanks all of you for attending. We are now going to cover some of these phenomenal questions. I did answer a few, but there's so many great ones. And it would be great to go through those with you. If you have some time, Ashley, to stay on, is that okay?
Absolutely. No, let's do it. I'm excited
Perfect.
about this. Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. Well, this is great. So thanks everyone for attending. Thanks for being here and keeping it fun and sharing all your reactions. We're going to go into the Q&A session now. If you'd like to stay on, please feel free. So first off, does Ashley have any FAMs planned for this summer?
So because we were talking about this, right, that there is a very limited size team. And by that, I mean, I'm it. Okay. So as far as actual FAMs that we have that are going, you'd have to keep your eyes peeled for some of the, preferred wholesalers and operators out there that may have something they're collaborating with us. But if you ever have any requests or want to do some self-guided FAM options between the agent rates and things like that, I can make the connections with the hotels and help make sure that you have the opportunities to come down and see the resorts, because we want you to be able to do that. But gosh, I mean, I'd just live there all year round if I was running FAMs the way we're set up. So great question. We have opportunities to get you down to the properties, and I know how key that is for learning. So please, and there you go. My contact information right here.
There you go. If I book a guest through the TA portal, can the guests still earn points on their stay?
You're talking about the Hilton Honors points? They absolutely can. So that's a great question. If you are booking through any of the preferred wholesalers, although you will likely be at a higher commission level, unfortunately, we don't have the technology set up to be able to provide them with honors points under those types of circumstances. So if they were absolute sticklers and wanted to get those honors points, book them through travelagents.hilton.com and then, put together the rest of the stuff, the parts of the vacation, and that will provide them with the honors points for their booking. Correct.
Perfect. Okay. And then someone asked if you could let them know as you cover the resorts, which are family friendly and which are adults only. So we've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Are any all-inclusives in the USA?
No, we do not have any US all-inclusives, and it's not likely that we'll be looking to do any of those. There's no shock that there aren't any out there for the most part anyway, and it's really just it's fairly cost prohibitive. Doesn't really work. I've seen others try it, but who knows? I never say never, right? Never say never. Great
Right.
question.
Good one. That's true. Someone just said they saw the list describing friendly and adult only. Is that a list they can get by email, perhaps? Or maybe we can put it on Spoiled Agent.
Yes, if we don't already have it on there, and I wanted to make sure that we focused
No.
everyone. There's a lot of great resources available, through the page and everything. So I
Yes.
would say that's your best place to go for that. But we do actually have, an up-to-date listing. And Sabrina, that's something we can check too. We can offline afterwards and make sure that the resources are up to date. But it would actually provide you with that information.
Yes, I've got a Hilton brand portfolio grid right here that I will just throw in the chat in just a moment for anyone who's interested.
Perfect.
And then, of course, the link to the page on Spoiled Agent for either Canada or US. You will find them in the hotels section naturally. Is it possible to get a copy of the slides?
That something that could be sent out? I mean, is that doable?
It
I could
can,
probably
yeah,
convert it
of
to a
course. If
PDF
you
and I could
sent
send it
it
to you.
by
Yeah.
WeTransfer, and then we
Hmm.
could host it. Yes, you and I can work on that separately for sure.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah.
Next one, great. That's a question we get often, and they love to see that. I guess it's helpful also to go through with their potential Hilton all-inclusive guests.
Hmm.
Okay, is the Hilton La Romana two different resorts? I see adult only and family friendly. I think you covered that.
It is two different resorts, and I think it's good it does obviously bear repeating. And I'm actually going in and putting this in the chat as well. So this is the newest version of the sheet that gives the hotel breakdowns and everything. Yes,
Oh,
it would be
great.
listed as two separate resorts. That's extremely important because depending upon the partner you're working with, say you were doing a social group like I recommended, it's a great option, but you may still end up having to even do two separate contracts, depending upon how they're structured and how they put things together. That also may be dependent upon, US or Canadian market. But regardless, yes, two different properties, but same complex. So again, if you've got someone that's 18 or older booked on one side, they can go over to the other side and vice versa.
Perfect. Now, does Hilton have a resort in Belize?
There is most undoubtedly, I can't say for sure that there may be a property in Belize, but it wouldn't be part of my all-inclusive portfolio. So unfortunately, I don't have all 7,500 Hilton properties committed to memory. But I do have, my focus is the all-inclusive resorts, and we don't have an all-inclusive in Belize, but great question.
Yes, it is a fantastic question. Where can we find a BDM list? And are agents assigned based on where they live versus where the agency is located? I know the answer, but I thought it'd be a great one to share for everyone's knowledge again.
Sure. So you're looking at the entire BDM team right now. I am your sole contact covering United States and Canada, because we are still very new to this space and we're developing a lot of things. The foundation of Hilton All Inclusive from a support standpoint. Don't hesitate if you need anything to reach out to me. That's why I'm here. But we do not yet have it. So basically, wherever you're located, hello, I'm helping you out.
Right. And I'll send that information in the chat in just a moment. Again, I'm working with a family group now for Christmas, 16 to 18 rooms, 40 people. Is there a property in Costa Rica? Because that's where they'd like to go.
So again, it wouldn't be an all-inclusive. So I mean, there's
Okay, so
likely
not,
yeah. If you're looking for something, I would say, gosh, I mean, take a look at some of the beautiful hotels that I talked about already.
That's right. And if you really want to see the rest of the Hilton with the so many hotels, tell them to call me and we'll put them on the site. Okay, but yeah, is there an additional fee for bringing your own photographer on site? I'm
There
assuming that's
would
for
be.
weddings. That's a Gina
Yeah,
question.
absolutely. No, there would be though. That's okay. We can answer that one. Yeah, there would be a it's just like any place else, off vendor, and it's going to be based on the property. So that would be something that if they wanted to bring in an outside photographer, outside vendor fee would apply. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So I've just added the links to Spoiled Agent. The first one is US. Apologies, I didn't write that, but the second one is Canada. It says Canada, so you know. Next question. Are the perks only for contracted groups in terms of the groups?
So yeah, if you're talking about the perks that I mentioned for the hotels prior to getting into the Playa portfolio, it would actually apply to contracted groups as well as like flex groups. When you're talking about our partners at Playa, their contracted group benefits are going to be available through their website, Agent Cash Plus, and they've got a breakdown on all those. That's outside of our portfolio. So not to make it more confusing, they do not offer social group benefits on flex groups. It would only be contracted groups for the 4 Playa hotels that I discussed. And again,
Makes
those are
sense.
Playa del Carmen, the Yucatan, Rose Hall, and La Romana.
Perfect. Now, I'm not sure what hotel this was for, but it came in sort of halfway through. Are there any swim out attached to this room? So I'm not sure which property you were on, but maybe you just
Mhm.
want to say where you might
Sure.
find swim outs in your
Yep,
beautiful
some of our
properties.
properties do have swim outs or private plunge pools. The ones that I know for a fact off the top of my head would be we have them in Cancun. We have them at the Mar Caribe. They're like kind of private plunge pool areas, and some of the enclave rooms have those. Playa del Carmen has them as well. So there are a number. There's private pools in some of the suites at the Yucatan. So it's usually pretty well described in like room category breakdowns and things like that. You'll see it listed as such. But yes, we do offer those in a number of the properties.
Perfect. What about balconies? Do some of the properties or all the rooms have balconies?
Yeah, I mean, for everything through our portfolio, there are a few at like Mar Caribe and a couple that might be like Juliet style, and those would be noted in your room descriptions, regardless of where you're booking, whether it's direct or through a partner. But yeah, all the rooms highlight nice sizable balconies. And one thing I forgot to mention about Mar Caribe, because I'm like looking at the time and I'm making sure we don't go long, but that property used to be like a vacation, I think almost like a rental, a vacation club type property. So all of the rooms there, even though the structure has been around for a while, completely gutted, renovated, and all the rooms have a substantial amount of square footage. That's one. And two, it always reminds me to bring up the fact that I think I saw something about Hilton Grand Vacations in there somewhere. whether it's the chat or the Q&A. We don't have any kind of timeshare or vacation club ownership throughout any of our properties. So that's a really big selling point for you guys,
Huge,
especially in our segment, right?
huge.
And Hilton Grand Vacations is actually its own separate brand amongst the Hilton portfolio. Oh, I see a little celebratory emoji there. Thank you. So Hilton Grand Vacations, they own all their properties. They're separate. So it's not like you'd have Hilton Grand Vacations as part of this other property. They own their stuff in whatever locations like Vegas and Orlando and so on and so forth. So hopefully that gives some clarity to whoever had asked that question as well.
Absolutely. Now we're going to do some geography. What is Caribe located next to for landmark?
So to be honest, I'm not sure if they're sold to the public or if it's like condos or rental properties. So our direct neighbors, I'm not 100% sure, but within like one property to the south of us would be the Iberostar, which I think I referenced when I was talking about our location. So, kind of the Iberostar pyramid there with its little complex by the golf course. For those familiar with the hotel zone, that's our neighbor just to the south. So still kind of on the southern end of the 7, but it's after you come over that bridge where you see the ocean for the first time. We're north of that. So really almost perfect location along the hotel zone in my personal opinion.
And again, and thank you for that. And thanks for being so great with all the questions. We've still got lots coming in.
No,
Thanks
that's fine.
to all the
Yeah.
spoiled agents for that. And we might have talked about it on the webinar, but I might ask the question anyway, because that might still be a doubt. So is Hilton All-Inclusive Resorts offering a travel advisor booking bonus program where we can earn comp nights for our travel?
So the one thing I will say that Playa has done a great job about, for the 4 Playa hotels and resorts, you can actually earn points towards free stays through the Agent Cash Plus website. That does not apply to majority of our Hilton portfolio because that is a Playa hotels and resorts program. The rest of them, I mean, it's something that we have been, talking quite a bit about and trying to develop, but it's just not something we have in place yet. So the only, agent rewards program would be that unlimited rewards program that I mentioned currently for the entire portfolio. And then of course the advisor rates. So yeah, no free nights program at this point, but it's a great question. And I mean, again, these things do bear repeating because, even I know how fast I'm talking. I know how much information we've got to cover. So feel free to ask them, read them out, Sabrina. That's why I'm here.
Absolutely. And I've shared the link. Excuse me. I've shared the link in there for everyone as well. And 50% off of your new properties is what they're promoting, what I see here. That's phenomenal and amazing. And this unlimited rewards gives you money. So just go and pay the TA rate. It's a win-win. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So lots of questions on the Enclave, lots of excitement. So let's talk about, I'm going to try to give you a few things together.
Sure.
So we talk about Enclave. So is the Enclave for certain room categories? I'm going to ask you a few and we'll see how we can touch on that. Is it for certain categories? What do we get? Do you have a list that shows that? And anything else about Enclave that are tools that agents can find out more? If you can share that, please.
Yeah, so I'll share the tool that you'll need is actually going to highlight all the properties that are that have the Enclave, and it's going to give you everything that you need to know. So I just sent that in the chat. So you guys have that. So the Enclave flyer, that is up to date as of this quarter. So that's one. 2, they are their own room category. So say you're going through whatever preferred partner you're booking with, and you're looking, it's like an oceanfront room. You scroll down a little bit more, then there's oceanfront enclave. That is going to be its own separate bookable room category. So it's not like an add-on or something you have to do in some confounded way. You book it as a dedicated room category, and then they get all the benefits that are highlighted on that document that I just shared.
Okay, perfect. So that's in there, and every document you send, guess what? I'm grabbing it and putting on your page later today because we want to have the most power to be spoiling all of you agents that
I agree 100%. Let me just give a shout out too, that having that page and having that accessible to everyone that's listening here and anyone that's listening to recording, all the spoiled agents out there, that is such a much better resource than what you're going to find in our agent site, because it allows us to kind of put all of that in one location. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to visit that page, to get to our resources and to find out anything that you need, because they're actually better at housing and hosting it than we are right now. So
hey, and use your resources. That's what we say. That's what we say in Girl Guides. Use your resources wisely.
Love it. Love it.
Okay. We've got some great questions. Also, hello to our Facebook community that's with us. We really appreciate all of you tuning in. And we have a question about butlers. If there are butlers in the two-bedroom suites.
So we don't have any like specific proper like English style butlers and things, but with some of like, for instance, the enclave rooms and ones that are in that category, you kind of have like a semi-private concierge access, right? So that might be someone that can help with like dining reservations and things of that nature. That's really where you're going to see some additional added value, and that may not necessarily be highlighted in the form that I mentioned there. It does differ based on property, so I can't give you exact specifics on how that works, but there wouldn't be technical butlers. That does lead me to an interesting statement, though, something that I didn't cover, and that's in reference to dining reservations. So when you're talking about, it's always the age-old question, right? Do you offer dining reservations? Got to do it in advance. Da, 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 da. You can do it in advance. They are not required, but they are recommended, especially for larger parties or during for those clients that really are sticklers that they have to dine at this exact time each day. We have multiple options on property to be able to do that. So many, especially of the ones that I mentioned at the beginning, there is not only going to be folks in the in the main lobby that are basically concierge that can help out with things other than dining reservations, but can make those for your guests. But there's also great technology for say Hilton Cancun, Mar Caribe, Tulum, the ones outside of the Playa portfolio. I know for a fact we have these little medallions, little wooden medallions with the hotel logo on them. You flip them over and there's a QR code on there that can be scanned on any Wi-Fi enabled or cell phone device, whatever it is. The guests don't have to download an app to access this. It just pulls open a browser window, but then gives them full access to make dining reservations for their party. I use this a ton when we were on vacation. You can make spa treatment reservations, room service. You can actually order that through there as well. There's no additional charge for that. It comes along with every guest stay. And that little medallion is also the room key. So it's extra technology there where you don't have to worry about, going down to the pool and losing your room key card or, getting deprogrammed or anything. It's right there on your wrist at all times. And it's not like a cheapo plastic. It's like a beautiful little colored twine with this little wooden medallion. So it's first class.
Stylish and first class, and not this thing that gives you the worst tan line ever.
Right. Right.
That's what always annoyed me was the tan line business,
For sure.
priorities. But the
Yeah.
technology part is also fantastic. Antoinette, sorry, I just meant to send you a link and I accidentally dismissed the question. But in the chat right now is coming for all of you again, the loyalty rewards. So you can grab that. And someone said, I don't see the link to the enclave. It's not a link, it's actually a document. So if you scroll back a bit, you're gonna see different things that within 24 hours, you'll find them on Spoiled Agent. So if you don't feel like scrolling, let us spoil you and come visit our page. By tomorrow morning, it'll be up there. Okay, we have so many great questions still. We appreciate everyone being here.
Yes.
Okay, that was the Enclave link, so there's not a link to Enclave again. That is a document that was shared. If you scroll back through the chat, you will see that over there. Okay, then let's see where we're at here. Okay, emailing. Okay, what was the Caribe formerly known as? Oh, that's a good question. I've
Great
been there.
question.
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Okay,
I've
so
been
it
in it.
actually, for a short period, no, for a short period of time, it was sold to the public. But prior to that, it was actually, I think I had mentioned this a little bit earlier, was actually a vacation rental ownership place, like a timeshare building specifically, which is why the square footage of the rooms is so big. For a short period of
Yeah.
time, it was sold as the Royal Uno. And then we did extensive changes, updates, and things like that. And then it entered our portfolio just in late 2023. So great question.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm new to Spoiled Agent. How do I access the agent rates? Oh, okay. Just sign up. Super easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Is Hilton eco-friendly for their guests?
Yes, actually, we take that quite seriously. I don't have specifics because they vary depending upon each property, but we do our best to, not limit the single-use plastics. A lot of things are compostable, recyclable, and then we also have, for instance, in Tulum, like live protected like turtle habitats and things of that nature. So we take the environmental side of things very seriously, and I actually am striving to get more content on that so I can talk about it more proactively when I do a lot of the presentations and shows. So that is something that we at Hilton take very, very seriously. Great question.
Fantastic. Yeah. Are any of these resorts affordable to a family of 4 adults?
Absolutely. All of them would be. Yeah. I mean, it all determines, it's all based on how you frame it and the value, right? Like if someone is looking for cheap, 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 I mean, a value oriented product is never what you're going to sell them anyway. But in terms of being affordable for a typical family of four, 100%. And we actually have the ability to guarantee bedding when you book. So, family of four wanting to stay in one room with like say two queen rooms, you can actually do that when booking through any of our connected partners or directly through us. So they know they're going to get the bedding. It's not on request. They show up and they get king beds and things like that. So yeah, yeah.
Can we all
I
pause
see
for a
that one
second?
got
Did you
some.
hear what he just said? Guaranteed bedding. Like that is huge and amazing and such a huge selling point. Wow, guys, that's amazing. Okay, is the resort in Curacao sold as a day pass for cruise ship passengers, possibly?
That's a great question. So yes, but on a very limited basis. We are right next to the cruise port. So if folks wanted to come on property, they usually just want to use the water park that's there because we've got a really great family friendly and adult friendly water park. But we only will offer a percentage of the percentage of occupancy of possible day passes for purchase. So dependent upon, it's never going to be a dominant amount of people on property that would be coming off of a cruise ship. It would be a limited number. And we really throttle that based on occupancy. And again, like I said, percentage of a percentage, meaning if we're at 50%, we're not going to sell the other 50% in. We're only still going to keep it at maybe that 5% or 10% total occupancy of the 50% that's in house, really
You
limiting
want
that.
that
But
guest
yes.
experience to stay premium, of course, makes total
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
Staying on the subject of Curacao, can we talk about if it's LGBTQ friendly? Can you snorkel off the beach? And can you get 50% off as a TA? Is that one of the newer ones?
That one might not still have the 50% off rates, but if you go on there and it seems like the rates there are a little bit less affordable or whatever it may be, that maybe that's risen up because the algorithm adjusted the pricing, reach out to me and I can connect you with the hotel and they might be able to do a little bit better rate for you. That's as far as it being LGBTQ friendly, absolutely, as are all of our properties. So that's a great question. And there was another one you threw. Oh, snorkeling off the
Snorkeling.
beach. Yes. So it's a great question there. Curacao not known as a beach destination, but more like a diving destination. So it is the third party that runs the diving excursions where guests could do full on diving, basically right off of our property there as well. But snorkeling is fully available and included right in our little private beach cove. And I say private beach because there in Curacao, beaches are public, but there's no way to get onto our beach without first entering the property. So essentially, we end up having a private beach in an area where you're not really.
Win-win. I
So yeah, pretty
love
cool.
it.
Yep.
And would you say the destination of Curacao as a whole is LGBTQ friendly?
Yeah, from what I mean, from yes, absolutely. Yeah, from
Okay, great.
what I've seen.
Yeah, and someone mentioned in the chat that they were there because our agent community is amazing. So someone had thrown that in the chat and said that they had been there and experienced that it was friendly
Indeed.
also.
Indeed.
Another question, a loaded question. Why are some of the Hiltons under Playa and not the others? And what's the distinctions between the resorts? I bet you get this a lot.
I do. And actually, it's a great question because, just like any major portfolio of hotels, gone are the days that like one group and one brand owns all their properties. It's not sustainable. You can't scale your business in that way. So Hilton is actually a management and franchise company. Hilton itself does not own a single property. So Playa Hotels and Resorts do own a number of resorts, and then they partner with different brands. It's no different than like a hotel in your local town. A lot of times, pay attention to this. The next time you check into like a local Hampton Inn or something, there's usually a plaque by the front desk that says owned and operated by such and such hotels LLC. The all-inclusive landscape is no different. If you look at one of our main competitors in the Hyatt inclusive collection, Hyatt doesn't own any of those properties at all, or when they were the AM resorts, it's a lot of different ownership groups. The only reason why it gets a little more confusing with the Playa dynamic is because Playa's got their own amazing sales force out there representing all of their brands. And so suddenly someone comes onto the scene like myself working for the brand themselves. And it's like, well, why the overlap? Well, I'm representing everything that's branded as a Hilton. They represent their portfolio of hotels that they own. And then again, anything that's a Hilton that they own, we work on together. So hopefully that didn't make it more confusing. But yes, if you can, and I've answered that
Explained it
question a number of
really
times.
well. I think
Yeah.
you explained it excellent. Same with restaurants, even,
Mm-hmm.
you got it, except there's no BDMs. for them usually. Okay.
Right.
Do Hilton honor status? If I have a status like diamond members and things like that, do I get benefits at the all-inclusive?
You would, but all inclusives are so different because the food and beverage and everything is included. And, like for instance, a Hilton Diamond member, you can't get upgraded into Enclave. Like maybe you can get an upgraded view. So if you booked an ocean view, you might get oceanfront based on occupancy. And there's only so many different discounts and, excuse me, added values that you can do with an all-inclusive that's already got everything in there. So maybe it's like an additional discount on spa treatments, things of that nature. It is something that obviously, we want to recognize those folks that are honors members, but in the all-inclusive business model, it's a little bit trickier. Than you check into a downtown city hotel, you're a diamond member, and before you know it, you're in the presidential, which by the way, I travel quite a bit with Hilton. I'm a diamond member, and I sometimes wonder, I'm like, man, you guys can look full. I'd love to get that upgrade, so the best way to do it is to book them in there and make the commission on it.
That's fantastic. Okay. The adults only part of La Romana well, actually they're confirming. So the adults only part of La Romana will never have to interact or deal with children. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct because it's sold as a separate property as fully adults only. The one thing that I'll say too, and I've seen this come up in my past life working with the complexes where they're booked as two different properties, half adults only, half family friendly. If guests want to have, say, a destination wedding and they want the special event to make sure there's no kids, have the special event on the adults only side, there's no kids allowed. If they want to have kids welcome there, have the event over on the family side. Any adults can walk over to the family side and partake in that event. And they're all still part of the same complex. But then it's always funny because like those are the rules. They're pretty simple. They're pretty clear cut. And it's like, well, can I just have kids come over to the adults only? So I'm like, no, that's the whole point. So anyway.
Right. I know we've already hit the 1 hour mark. Are you okay, Ashley, to stay on? Because we still
No,
have
we're
quite a
good.
few questions.
No,
Okay,
let's
great.
answer the questions. Yeah, for
We
sure.
appreciate that so much.
And I do see some stuff coming up. Like I want to make sure if I put it in the chat again, my contact information. So guys, if you need my email address, I'm gonna
Yeah,
type
by
that in
all
right now.
means. And remember, you shared a grid, and we've shared quite a few documents in the chat. In there, would you be able to see which ones are adults only and which properties, for example, have like a lazy river? That's a question we have.
I don't know if lazy river specifically is something that, but I can tell you that the two that have lazy rivers would be, and I mean, it's sort of like yeah, I guess now it is. It's lazy river there as well. Would be Rose Hall and La Romana family side. Those are going to be the two that have lazy rivers. But then as far as like water parks and things like that, Curacao as well. And what else? I mean, others are like splash pads and bigger kind of pseudo mini water parks and things like that. But the two that have the lazy rivers would be La Romana family side and Rose Hall, Jamaica.
Hey, wow, this is going to be hard. Which resort is your absolute favorite? I remember you said Vallarta. You loved Vallarta, the
Well, yeah,
destination.
it's always a
But how do
loaded
you pick a
question.
favorite?
Right. You can't because I mean,
Depends who's coming.
vacations are
Yeah,
thank you. That's always my answer is who am I going with, right? So I mean, if I
yeah.
was going for like a quick adults only getaway, I would say Playa del Carmen. If I'm going with like the kids and the family and everything, I would probably say Tulum, but Marcaribe, Cancun, they're all in the mix. And honestly, it really just depends upon what I'm looking for out of the vacation, and it's never the same thing each time, right? So the key would be always to kind of highlight what's most important. I mean, Vallarta as a destination has my heart because it just feels like such a different vibe out there with the mountains behind you. You just feel this sense of connection and isolation. The sunsets over the water. I mean, and the proximity to a town that's very walking friendly, clean, accessible, that has so many great you know, options for entertainment and dining. I just love the destination. Love it. So,
Same here, guys. And
that I
I
can
lived
say.
in Cancun for a couple decades, and I love it. But I'm a little bit closer now to that side, and I hadn't been for many years. And I went this past year. It's also so Mexican, so friendly, so authentic,
Mhm.
and all those things you're saying tick the boxes for me. So there's so many things that you have to check before you could say what's the best option, right? Someone's asking about Hilton Vallarta. Is there a pool for kids, and what hours are the kids club? Do you know offhand? If not, I know we have the fact sheet on our site at Spoiled Agent.
One more time. Can you repeat that one for me?
Sure. Is there a pool for kids at the Hilton Vallarta? And do you know what
There
the
is.
hours are for the kids club?
The hours for the kids club, I want to say I'm estimating here, so don't hold me to this exactly, but it's around 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's a pretty substantial amount of time throughout the day, but it's not going to be like a nighttime tear it up nightlife daycare setup, right? So if guests need something late night, they'd have to get, babysitting service outside cost. But yes, there is also a fully dedicated family pool to go with the fully dedicated adults only pool. And the family pool is in direct, adjacent proximity to the kids club.
Makes sense. Is it, speaking still about Vallarta, is the smaller property to the right of the Hilton in Vallarta part of the Hilton? Previously the Grand Fiesta. I don't know if that's Fiesta or Grand Fiesta. Fiesta.
So if you're talking about the Grand Fiesta Americana is the property that the Hilton was before it joined our portfolio, underwent some extensive, upgrades and tweaks and things like that, and joined our portfolio. It was an adults only property before, but if you're talking about that tiny little building next door, that's not part of the Hilton property. It's really those two kind of adjacent towers that I showed in the image. That is the hotel area there. So
Do you know what the
great question.
property is by chance or
No,
no?
I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, well, we're just gonna have to go look and tell you.
Yeah.
I could
Go
sign up.
book a
I'll
great
sign me
agent
up.
rate. There you
Yeah,
go. You
sign me
guys
up.
book a
I'm
great agent
going.
rate, go
I'll
explore.
find out. I'll take a selfie and I'll let you know.
Love it.
I could do that. I love my job. Okay. Your mice groups,
Hmm.
regarding your mice groups higher than social groups. I'm not sure what the question is. Okay, here we go. I got it. Are mice groups prices higher than social groups?
As an industry standard, generally, yes. I mean, mice groups are booked in a completely different method. Obviously concessions, a lot of the way that the deposits are structured, all that stuff is different. I mean, I focus primarily on the leisure segment, but I also do deal in the mice a bit. And for mice, for us at Hilton, that's an area of expertise from a global standpoint. The company has been, really an industry leader in that space. But yeah, I mean, the commission percentages are generally going to be different, concessions and things like that, and they're different structural contracts for sure.
So you guys are amazing. We needed a helper. See? Hey, Ashley needs a helper. We'll have to tell the higher ups.
Let them
Um,
know. Let
because
them
you
know.
have a
Thank
helper
you.
in me, but I wish I knew more that I
No,
don't
it's
want to answer
okay.
anything
This is
incorrectly.
great.
Okay,
This is
we're
great.
still going through. Okay, would love more info on Zemi Miches.
Okay, so that because we don't have any kind of fact sheet structure on that, what you saw on the on the slide is pretty much what I know. It is going to be very much like a luxury, like earth tone kind of nature reserve meets luxury Caribbean getaway type vibe. That's what I've been told. But it's still in construction, so all the kind of final numbers and fact sheets and things like that, I would say hopefully by Q3 of this year we'll have that stuff out, and of course it'll be on our amazing page here with Spoiled Agent.
Yay, amazing spoiled agent. Okay, how do we get certified to sell? Do you have an agent certification program?
You know what? You're right here. You just took it. No, honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
you're set. If you've got your credentials and you're all set up, then by all means, you get on to travelagents.hilton.com or any of your preferred wholesalers and sell away. I'd love to have more programs that kind of allow you to take some of these modules, but it's the reason why I do things like that. And and we take advantage of the fact that amazing partners of ours like Spoiled Agent can record these modules, and you can go and learn a little bit more. And then you have me as a resource if you need, additional support, but no certification needed.
Hey, perfect. I love that. You're ready to sell right now. Are there
Mhm.
special rates for green fees at the golf course next to Hilton Rose Hall?
Yes, there would be. I don't have a rate sheet on that, but that's something that if you want to send me a follow-up, I can most definitely track that down. But there is a partnership with the golf course there. And in fact, it's a slight upgrade. I want to say it's maybe $30 or $40 a person to go dine up there at their restaurant as well, above and beyond all the dining venues that are available. So we have a really great relationship with the golf course there. Don't own it, but have great relationship, and there are kind of flanking next door neighbor. So great question.
Fantastic. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for a wonderful presentation. What would be your pick for the best family-friendly resort in Mexico, specifically the East Coast?
specifically the East Coast, best family friendly choice.
Coming from the
Um,
East Coast or on the East Coast of Mexico?
right. I would narrow it down to two. If guests are looking for a shorter stay and they want to be closer to the airport and everything, I would say the Cancun Mar Caribe is going to be the best fit. But if they're looking for like a longer length stay and need a little bit more like spread out and want to be closer to, a lot of, like I said, those eco parks and things like that, then I would say Tulum. I mean, being an hour and a half nonstop transfer from the airport, I wouldn't necessarily suggest Tulum for like a 3 night stay. Definitely more for like a longer haul. Although again, I mean, it's all relative, right? I mean, you're 45 minutes to Playa del Carmen, but it's really based on preference. Those two I would focus on for sure.
Yeah, I love the southern location that you're really close, like you said, to all those attractions. Then
Mhm.
your transfer when you want to go to all those great things is that much shorter. Are
Absolutely.
service animals welcome at your properties in general or only at specific locations?
So in general, yes, but obviously there's more than just, especially when you're talking about internationally, there's more than just the stipulations of the property. I mean, there could be, fees involved depending upon size of the animal. We do, if it's like a service dog, obviously we fully open for folks to be able to bring those along, but they also have to get the appropriate paperwork through government jurisdictions and things like that in case there's any kind of quarantine rules with traveling with any kind of animal, regardless of whether it's a pet or service dog. But we can accommodate that. And I would say if you have clients that where that's the case, you definitely want to reach out to us proactively so I can connect you with the property sales managers and they can go over the specifics of how that works so that you can be upfront about it with your clients. And again, specific to destination and property.
Okay, perfect. Is Hilton All Inclusive going to offer a TA booking bonus with free nights potentially in 2025?
I'm
Is
not
that
going to put
something?
any timeline dates on any of that stuff. Trust me. I mean, if I had my way, we'd have had it the day after I arrived or
Of
before I got
course.
here. But
Yes.
that hasn't happened yet. And in really being so new to this segment, everybody thinks like, oh, you just launched something like that. No problem. The amount of work and everything that goes into developing a program like that makes sense. And then also doing it in a global company where we're not the only hotels in Hilton. So it's not just the all inclusives, it's 7,500 plus global hotels. So everything that we do in our tiny little all inclusive bubble does affect the greater whole. So it has to be something that's palatable, probably outside of our all inclusives as well. So it's a great question. I understand the need for it. I want it more than as much as doing more. As much as you guys do, I want this as well, but there'd be no way I could commit to any kind of a date or what it would look like or anything else. But great question nonetheless.
That's fair. And I love the transparency. That's why these connections are so important. You have
Sure.
someone that you can talk to that you trust that knows and isn't going to lead you down the wrong way. Transparency is amazing. Are there meeting facilities at the Hilton La Romana?
There are, yes, yeah, we do have
Perfect.
convention center space is available essentially at all of our properties except Mar Caribe. We don't have it. That's going to be more for like smaller social groups and FIT stays. And then the Mangrove Beach, not the Reef. So Reef does have convention space. Mangrove Beach very limited in terms of like convention room space. But of course, that's a specialty of Hilton. So almost all of our properties do have the convention space available.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now let's talk about your larger rooms. I think we mentioned Cancun potentially. So they're asking about guaranteed connecting rooms for families of five or even six. So
Mhm.
guaranteed connecting rooms, or do you even have a room period that can hold a family of five?
We're not generally going to have one room bookable. You'd still need to book it almost as like a suite double room or something like that. And even those scenarios are very rare. We can in most scenarios guarantee connecting rooms, but not every property is going to have that. So it's going to be property specific, and it's not going to be something that either our direct reservation system or our partners like our wholesale reservation systems can handle. So it is still a manual process, but we can do guaranteed connecting rooms for a fee, and that fee per night is going to vary based on property. So I'm sorry that my answer probably gives you time for more questions, but it is something that we can accommodate in most scenarios. I know, for instance, like in Vallarta, and most of the rooms, like a regular oceanfront king and two queens, would not be able to connect, just simply because structurally the building's not built that way. So each one of them is a little bit different. If you have a need for that, or there's someone specific clients where you need that, reach out to me. We'll work with the property.
Perfect. And I just sent someone the wrong answer. I'm so sorry about that. Kathy, I fixed it. Okay. Does Hilton do anything complimentary for special occasions, perhaps birthdays, anniversaries?
So we're in the process of developing some, it wouldn't necessarily, I mean, complimentary, like, you can always request to have, in-room amenities arranged by the property, something little small, little note and things like that. Each property handles those a little bit differently. So we don't have some kind of like uniform program where you can like set it and forget it, sort of. And then we're also working on, purchasable and commissionable packages for celebrations like, landmark birthdays and things of that nature. They're not launched just yet, but that is something that we're working on internally as well. And while you're sifting through there too, I did see one came through. Is I really don't, I can't stand it when I do stuff like this, where we're using jargon and acronyms that people don't know. Someone actually said, "What is a MICE group?" Meetings, incentives, corporate, and events. So basically, it's like that realm outside of like your standard leisure and social groups, where it's generally going to be one payee, one customer that's working with you, that's paying for the whole group, and then setting up like meeting space. It's really something that requires, other than like a destination wedding or a social group with like a little get together event, that requires actual meeting space. That's what changes the structures of the contracts, the rates, and all those things, because there's a lot of quote unquote concessions that have to be accounted for in the margin. So hopefully that helps answer your questions. But MICE is an acronym for meetings, incentives, and so on, corporate and events.
Thank you. See, this is why he's so amazing, because he takes the time and has the patience. Thank you. That's very kind, because we sometimes have questions too. I also agree. Please, what does that mean? And I'd rather ask in the meeting and know. Okay. Can you ask my question, please, about the adults only locations with Lazy River? Yes, I'm sorry. I thought we covered with the sheet that you can refer to. But do you know which adults only have Lazy Rivers off the top of your head?
There wouldn't be anything that's adults only that has a lazy
Okay.
river, unless you're
Okay.
talking about the Hilton La Romana has the adults only side, but the lazy river is part of the water park that's on the family side. Yeah, it's hard for me to, that would be a very limited clientele that would want an adults only that also had a lazy river, because the lazy river generally as an investment would be something that would be family friendly. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, we have sort of an option, but I mean, if you were staying at the Hilton La Romana adults only side, be prepared to see kids at the water park.
Of course. And you wanted the Lazy River. Okay. Are most all-inclusive, Hilton's all-inclusive, LGBTQ friendly?
Yes.
Perfect. And are the destination service dog or emotional support pet friendly?
No,
Okay,
I
I
think
think I might have even asked that.
touch on
Sorry.
that one. Yeah. No, that's okay, because I
Yeah,
think some of them have come
we've had
through a few
85
different times.
questions.
It's
It's
all
been
good. This is great.
fantastic.
This is
And I
great,
have two
guys.
questions that are asking specifically for something to be emailed. So I'm going to leave those open because you'll see that in your report.
Okay.
And whoa, we have come to the end of many, many amazing questions. Why? Because these are the best agents in the industry, and they're asking questions so they can be better informed to now send clients your way, get all these great rewards with your program, or maybe even come and visit you with your fantastic travel agent rates. So once again, all that info is on our Spoiled Agent page, whether you're in the US or in Canada. And if you're new and you haven't been on the Spoiled Agent website before, we love you. Welcome. Thank you for being here. It takes 2 seconds to sign up. You just have to be an agent, because everything's locked, because it's our secret, all the ways we get to spoil you, to thank you through the suppliers, of course, right here, that get to reward you for your loyalty and for just being the awesome agents that you are. So with that, I will allow you to say any final words that you might like to share, Ashley. It's been really a pleasure having you. And what a host you are. Really, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for being patient and just so great. Look at the chat when you have a minute. It's really beautiful, all the wonderful comments and feedback in there.
No, I appreciate it so much. And again, like I said at the beginning, I mean, thank you. I'm more than happy to stay as long as this is what I love doing. If the passion doesn't come across in how I feel about not just what I'm representing, but also what you guys can represent as partners of ours, right? So taking the time out of your day, whether it's live or whether you're looking at this on a recording, and God bless you if you hung in all the way to the end on the recording. Thank you for making the time. And Sabrina, thank you and the entire team at Spoiled Agent. You guys are amazing partners. I wish we could have been working with you all sooner, but again, big companies and lots of other things that I have to take care of. This was something that I was passionate about, and I'm glad to be a part of it. This will not be the last time that we collaborate on things like this. And for those of you that will be out there attending some other things here later in the year, you'll see me on the road in your respective areas. So thank you so much again. Really appreciate your partnership. If you need anything support wise with Hilton All Inclusive, do not hesitate to reach out, and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Ashley. Thanks all you spoiled agents. And we hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.